The Antalya property market just shifted. And if you are thinking about buying, selling, or investing here, this is the video you need to watch before you make any decisions. Because June 2026 is telling us something really important. This market is becoming more balanced. Nearly 10,000 active listings. Prices still climbing at nearly 29% year over year. But buyers, for the first time in years, have real negotiating power. So what does that actually mean in practice? And what should you do about it? That's exactly what we are going to break down today. But before we get into the numbers, I want to take just a moment to speak directly to anyone watching this who is seriously considering making a move here in Antalya. Whether you are looking to buy your first property in Turkey, you are an investor looking at where the market is heading, or you are thinking about selling and you are not sure if now is the right time, please reach out to me directly. Every single week, I hear from people who found this channel while researching Antalya from abroad, from the UK, from Dubai, from Germany, from Russia. People who had 100 questions and didn't know where to start. And I have been able to sit down with them, walk them through this market, and help them make confident, informed decisions. That's what I do. My contact information is right there in the description below. Send me a message, ask me anything. There is no obligation, just a real conversation with someone who knows this market inside and out. Okay, let's talk about June 2026. All right, here is the headline for June 2026. And I want you to really hear this because it matters. The Antalya market is not slowing down, it's just becoming more balanced. And I know that might sound like the same thing, but it really isn't. In the last 2 or 3 years, this was a seller's market. Inventory was tight, demand was intense, and buyers had very little room to negotiate. What June 2026 is showing us is a healthier version of the same strong market. One where buyers have more choices, quality properties are still at serious interest, and prices are still going up, just a more sustainable pace. That's good news for everyone. Buyers get more breathing room, sellers still have strong values to work with, and investors are looking at a market with the genuine long-term fundamentals. Let me break down exactly what the data is showing us. Let's start with inventory, because this is where the story really begins. As of June 2026, there are 9,731 active listings in the Antalya market. Now, if you have been watching this channel for a while, you will know that numbers is meaningfully higher than what we were seeing a while ago. And the key thing to understand is what that shift represents. More listings means buyers now have a wider range of options across all price points. You are not being forced to make a snap decision on the first property you see because there might be nothing else available. That is a real change. On the demand side, domestic demand, Turkish buyers from Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir remains strong and consistent. Where we have seen a slowdown is in foreign buyer activity. International transactions have softened compared to the record level we saw in 2024 and 2025. That's partly due to mortgage rate headwinds and partly just a natural normalization after a very hot few years. But, and this is important, cash buyers continue to lead the market. If you are a buyer coming in with hard currency and you don't need a Turkish lira mortgage, you are in a genuinely powerful position right now. What does this mean in practical terms? For buyers, more negotiating power, less competition for quality properties, and for sellers, pricing correctly is more critical than ever. With 10,000 listings in the market, an overpriced home doesn't just sit for a few extra weeks. It sits until you adjust. Now let's talk about prices because this is where people have the most questions. The headline numbers of June 2026. Average home price in Antalya is 5.99 million Turkish lira. Price per square meter is 54,541 Turkish lira. Price growth plus 28.8% year over year. Now, before you say that sounds incredible or that sounds unsustainable, let me give you the full context. Yes, nominal prices in lira are up nearly 29% compared to June of last year. But when you factor in Turkey's inflation environment, real price growth has moderated. The pace of increase is becoming healthier, which is actually what you want to see in a mature market. And for international buyers purchasing in dollars, euros, or pounds, prices in hard currency terms remain very competitive compared to other Mediterranean markets. A comparable coastal property in Spain or Greece would often cost 2 to 3 times more than what you can find here. The gap hasn't closed. If anything, it's one of Antalya's biggest strengths. Now, where are prices strongest? We can highlight 4 areas worth knowing. First, Konyaaltı, which continues to command premium values thanks to its beachfront access and urban lifestyle appeal. Second, Alanya, very popular with both domestic Turkish buyers and international buyers, particularly from Russia, Scandinavia, and the Gulf. Third, Aksu, an emerging district that is showing strong growth trajectory. This is one to watch if you are thinking about entry-level investment. And the last is Murabbaşa, the central district with consistently high demand due to its location and established infrastructure. The takeaway on prices, they are still going up. The growth pace is healthier and the relative value of international buyers remains strong. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Turkish lira mortgage rates. As of June 2026, housing loan rates are sitting between 31 and 37% annually. I'm going to be completely direct with you. These are elevated rates. They are the single biggest factor slowing buyer activity in Antalya right now. Many prospective buyers, particularly Turkish nationals, who would typically use a lira mortgage, are choosing to wait rather than commit at current financing costs. And honestly, that's a rational decision at these levels. But there is the silver lining, and it's a significant one. For international buyers, Turkish lira mortgages were never the primary tool anyway. If you are coming in with dollars, euros, or pounds, you are not subject to these rates in the same way. Cash buyers and those with large down payments are finding excellent opportunities right now because sellers know that financing is a challenge and they are more open to flexible payment structures and incentives that they have been in along on the balance. The financing landscape isn't ideal, but if you are coming in with the right structure, you are negotiating from a position of real strength. So let's spend a moment specifically talking to sellers because the June 2026 data sends a very clear message. The good news, property values remain historically high. Domestic demand is still healthy. If you own a well-located, well-presented property, there is a buyer for it. But, and this is important, the competitive landscape has changed. Buyers now have nearly 10,000 listings to choose from. They are comparing everything: price, condition, location, presentation, payment flexibility, all of it. So what do the most successful sellers right now have in common? First, they price realistically, not where they wish the market was, where it actually is. Well-priced homes continue to sell. Overpriced homes sit on the market indefinitely. And the listing that's been sitting for a long time starts to raise questions in buyers' minds. Questions you really don't want them asking. Second, they present professionally. Quality staging, professional photography, drone footage, video walkthroughs. These are not nice to have anymore. Buyers researching from abroad, from Dubai, from Berlin, they are making shortlists based on what they see on a screen. If your property doesn't look incredible online, you are not even making it to the shortlist. Third, they offer incentives. The sellers who are closing fastest right now are the ones who remove friction from the deal. Furniture packages, flexible payment terms, assistance with the closing costs. These things don't cost a fortune, but they can be the deciding factor for a buyer who is weighing up two similar properties. Let me give you the trend picture, both month over month and year over year, because context is everything. Month over month, the market is showing stability. Inventory stable, demand stable, prices slight increase, continuing the upward trend, but at a measured pace. Mortgage rates still high, still steady. No dramatic swings. This is a market that knows where it is. For year over year, these shifts are more significant. Prices are up 28.8%, a number that gets attention, and rightly so. Inventory is higher, meaningfully more supply than this time last year. Foreign buyers, activity is lower, a normalization from recent highs, and buyer negotiation power is stronger, the highest it's been at any recent point. The overarching story the data is telling us: Antalya's market is shifting toward balance. Prices are up nearly 30% year over year. But rising inventory and stronger buyer leverage are creating a more measured, sustainable environment. That is not a warning sign. That is a healthy market maturing. Now, should you buy right now? This is the question I got asked more than any other. And my honest answer is, today's buyers have more control than they have had in years. But the right strategy matters. Here is the case of buying right now. More inventory means better selection. You can actually take your time, compare properties, and find the one that genuinely fits your criteria, without feeling like you have to grab the first thing available. Greater negotiating opportunities. Sellers know the market has more competition. The conversations I am having right now on behalf of buyers are very different from what they were 18 months ago. Sellers are more flexible on terms, payment structures, furniture inclusions, price adjustments. There is more room to negotiate than there has been in a long time. And long-term investment potential remains very strong. Airport expansion to 82 million passengers, year-round tourism, limited premium coastal land, the fundamentals that make Antalya active haven't changed. They have gotten stronger. Now, what to consider before you buy? Mortgage affordability if you are planning to use Turkish lira financing. Be honest with yourself about what makes sense at current rates. Location for a long-term value. Not all areas will appreciate equally. The districts with coastal access and established infrastructure will always command a premium. And buy with a long-term horizon. This is not a market for short-term flipping. It's a market for people who believe in the trajectory of this city. And based on the data, that belief is well-founded. Now for sellers, should you sell right now? The same honest answer. Property values are at historically high levels. Domestic demand is still healthy. The reasons to sell are real, but competition is increasing. Buyers have more choices than before, and competition among sellers is rising. The sellers who are winning right now all share two things. They price correctly using real local market data, not wishful thinking, not what their neighbor got 2 years ago, actual current comparable sales. And they marketed professionally with quality presentation that made their property stand out in a market where buyers have almost 10,000 options to scroll through. If you can do those two things, price right and present well, this is still an excellent market to be selling in. If you are not willing to do both of those things, you are going to have a frustrating experience. I will be direct with you on that. Now, the key takeaways, the 4 things to remember. Let me leave you with the 4 things that matter most from June 2026. Number 1, the market is balanced. More inventory and stronger buyer leverage are creating a healthier, more sustainable environment. This is a good thing for everyone. Number 2, prices are still rising. Values are up 28.8% year over year. Growth is becoming more measured, but the direction hasn't changed. Number 3, cash buyers have the advantage. High mortgage rates between 31 and 37% give cash buyers and those with large down payment significant negotiation power. If that's you, use it. Number 4, pricing strategy is everything. Whether you are buying or selling, using real local data and working with someone who actually knows this market is the difference between a great outcome and a frustrating one. Antalya remains one of Turkey's most dynamic real estate markets. The data confirms it. And understanding today's conditions rather than guessing at them is what's going to put you in a position to make a confident decision. That's your complete Antalya real estate market update for June 26. If this video helped you understand the market pattern, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because I do this every single month. Real numbers, honest analysis, no fluff. See you on the next video.